Hey guys, welcome back. Orbomb here, bringing you another episode of our Digimon content videos. Now, we're going to do things a little bit different today. I'm actually going to start today's video on DigimonCard.dev. Now, I know I have a lot of people, I'm going to make my face get a little bit smaller so you can see all the cards easier. I know I have a lot of people who are brand new to the Digimon card game on my channel, especially since I'm a Pokemon channel, but I'm always pushing the Digimon card game agenda. This game is so much fun. It is really satisfying to play. It's really satisfying to deck build, and there's excellent tools out there for you to abuse for this exact reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase you guys DigimonCard.dev. I'm going to show you guys the deck I built. We're playing green today, and it's going to be really exciting. So if you guys like the Digimon card game videos, drop a like on the video, subscribe, share all that good jazz. Answer the comment question today, and let me know what decks you want to see me play in the future. Today we're going to be playing what I call money green, because there's nothing but value in this. There's nothing but value in this deck. Now I'm going to do one other thing differently too. I really like this deck. This deck is a lot of fun to play. I played it. What's today? Today is the. I'm recording this on the 17th, which means I recorded a. I did a stream for 4 hours of playing just this deck versus different decks with my buddy. So on the 16th, which is on my Twitch, and I have it unlisted on the YouTube channel. I decided to keep this stream specifically unlisted so that people that want to watch the gameplay can go watch it. It is 4 hours almost. It's almost 4 hours worth of green gameplay, and the gameplay is excellent. The beginning was a little bit wonky because I was getting confused with like levels, but that's because I wasn't checking. But other than that, like, beautiful gameplay, gorgeous gameplay. So if you guys want to check that out, I'm going to leave a link in the description to the gameplay with this deck. I played against Omni Blue, which is like the best deck format. I played against Metal Garurumon Purple, which might be a future deck profile. That's actually something I built and it did pretty well. I think I played against some red as well, like Omni Red, but I'm not too sure. I don't remember actually, but it was a lot of games. It was a lot of fun. So if you guys want to check that out, that's going to be in the description. So we're going to go over this deck list here now. Green's whole thing, and the route I took with this deck is actually super control-y. It's like control-y and swarmy at the same time. It's actually really fun. The whole concept of this deck is that you play a bunch of Digimon that can be evolved out cheaply and put on the board cheaply, like super cheap. And then you spend a good chunk of your time resting your opponent's Digimon so that you can get rid of them. So your game plan is almost first and foremost knock out all of your opponent's Digimon and then go for their security afterwards. We have ways to punish them from attacking too in case they have really strong Digimon like Terror Cluster. And because we have so many rookies in this deck, I believe this deck is playing 16 rookies, which I can show you guys right up here. Actually, move my face cam so I can show you guys. One cool thing about this is that you can click this little thing called level sort. First level sort to sort your deck, and then you can do stats, and the stats will show you right here. I have to move my face cam all over the place, bro. But it's probably best right there. We have we have 7 level 6s, 8 level 5s, 11 level 4s, 16 level 3s, and 5 level 2s. So we also have a few option cards and a few Tamers as well. Green has some of the best cards in the game. I honestly think Green has some of the best cards in the game. It's no Vulcan Hammer like Blue has, but they're really, really powerful. So we're going to go over all the cards. And if you guys like the content, don't forget to support. You guys know the drill. And I'm trying to upload one Digimon card deck every week. But if you guys continue to kill the Digimon support, continue to share the videos, like the videos, all that good jazz, subscribe to the channel, I will up it up to 2, maybe even 3. Because I'm holding myself back from uploading a bunch of Digimon content because I am a Pokemon channel, but at the same time, it could be a good time for me to evolve into like more of a card game focused channel. So that all comes down to the support. Obviously, the more Digimon I upload, the less people that subscribe to me for only Pokemon will remain, you know what I mean? So it's up to you guys to support it, and I'm really enjoying it. So anyways, as far as our level 2s go, I'm playing 4 Argomon. This card's just too good. If this Digimon becomes active during your active phase, get +1 memory. So if you attack and your opponent doesn't get rid of you their turn, if you become active during your turn, you just get +1 memory. It's an excellent way to just continuously give yourself memory, considering that you're pretty much always attacking in this deck, whether you're attacking one of your opponent's rested Digimon or you're just attacking security. So Argomon, excellent card. I'm also playing 1 Tanemon. There's a few other green options which we'll go. Actually, now's a good time to do that. I can very easily just do this. More Digimon card.dev stuff. Green level 2s. and we're going to go only the stuff that's out right now. I'm actually at the end of this video going to discuss all of set 3 stuff that is not out yet, not all of it at least, but I'm going to discuss some of the good options that are going to come out in set 3. Obviously for us getting the English cards, that's not going to be a thing until February for us, but you know, something worth mentioning so you guys have an idea of what I'm thinking. But we only have 3 options when it comes to green. There's also starter deck options, which I'll look at in a second as well. I'm pretty sure I can do this as well. Let's do oh no, the starter deck, we don't have a green starter deck. Ha, never mind. We have Freemon. Freemon's pretty good. If your opponent has 2 or more rested Digimon, this Digimon gets 2,000 plus power. Honestly, this and Tamer is kind of back and forth. There are definitely situations where your opponent will have multiple rested Digimon, which I will explain later. So if you guys want the extra power, Freemon could be semi-consistent. This is very consistent though. It's only 1,000 power, but if you Digivolve a Digimon once or more this turn, you get 1,000 more power, which is very consistent in this deck since we're always Digivolving. But I digress. You can choose. Regardless, I think 4 Agumon is just too good. I think this card is super strong, giving you +1 memory every turn. Like, memory is so important in this game. It's arguably the best resource in this game, so you want to make sure you have as much memory as possible, and that's where Agumon goes, especially in this deck, because this deck can memory choke your opponent hard, as well as continuously, you know, do more each turn because you require so little memory. For instance, we have 8 level 2 vanilla, level 3 vanilla cards. There are only 2 memory to play down, 0 to evolve, and we have 8 more of the ability dudes. We have 4 Palmon. When played, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add a level 4 Digimon from amongst them and put them into your hand, which is nice. You know, gets you a little bit more consistency with your level 4s. It's 1,000 power, so you're not going to be attacking with this very much. And the same thing goes with this Agumon here as well. But Agumon's great because it gives you 1,000 more power, and your Digimon want extra power in this deck, so having Agumon is the most important card. This Palmon is the only thing that I could see you like changing out for a different level 4, which we can actually discuss right now. So we can actually get rid of the level 2, and this is why I'm doing this on DigimonCard.dev. It's so easy for me to just show you all the options we have. So these are, oh, this is level 4. I meant to click level 3. This also gives me a reason to tell you guys why I don't play specific cards. So there we go. So there's Mushroomon. Mushroomon is very powerful at 4,000 and honestly could be worth, except for the fact that it has a 1 evolution cost, which is why I don't play it. Because if I'm going to be attacking with something, I want it to be evolved from Agumon so I can get that extra power if I don't get deleted. So I don't really like this because it's 1 evolution cost, which can end your turn, and we don't want that. Tentomon is excellent if you want more power, and actually not for more power, more time to rest your opponent. I personally have found that while playing Tentomon, resting my opponent's like 3,000 or less DP Digimon has never been that useful for me, especially considering that all my dudes are not that strong anyways. So I'm not playing this. Kakuamon is pretty cool. It gives you, if your opponent is level 6 or more, you get security attack +1, but once again, same problem I was talking about. We don't want anything that costs to evolve. But I will show you guys at the end of this video some really strong new green cards you're going to be getting in the next set. And the next starter deck that comes out like a little bit after set 3 in Japan. So we got some cards to look at, don't worry. But for the time being, I am playing the Palmon. It just adds consistency, which is always nice. So 16 level 4s that keeps your level 3s that keeps you very consistent as far as drawing cards nonstop, especially when we jump to the end here and take a look at Mimi Takakawa. This card is absurd. This is probably the best Tamer in the game, and that is no hyperbole. At the start of your turn, it gives you 3 memory, which is great. Or if you don't have 3 memory, you start at 3 memory, which is great. And then if you have a level 5 or more green Digimon, by resting this card, hatch a Digi-Egg in your raising area, or remove a level 3 or more Digimon from your raising area to the battle area. So essentially, as long as you have a level 5 or higher Digimon on your board, you get 2 raising phases. 1 at the beginning of your turn, and then 1 whenever you rest Mimi, which is amazing. Because that means if you have Mimi's down, your opponent has a harder time kind of like counting out how many Digimon you have on board, because they can sometimes they don't take into account that you have a Mimi on board, which technically gives you another Digimon out of nowhere, because you have your raising phase in the beginning, right, where you hatch the egg, then you evolve it into level 3, and then you rest your Mimi, and then you get out that level 3 in the same turn. And because it came from the raising area, that Digimon can attack that turn, because it's not played from anywhere. It's any Digimon that comes out of the raising area can attack the same turn. So even if you evolved it that turn from your hand, it can still attack, which is excellent. That means you have a whole free attack all the time. And of course, starting at 3 memory is really good. And honestly, this card is so strong, it might be worth playing 3. I'm playing 2 right now. Space is kind of tight, but I wouldn't even get mad at you if you played 4, because having this card early is so incredibly strong. But anyways, moving on. I think that's all of our level 3s. Let's go ahead and start talking about level 4s. We're playing 11 level 4s. I really want to play 12. I really, really do. Rocking with 11 for now. But we have Vegemon, 1 evolution. Once again, value, money, Vegemon. It's 6,000 power, which is actually not too bad. We have Woodmon as our blocker. Only reason why we're playing it, although we are getting a new Kabuterimon eventually in the green deck that is a 1 evolution blocker, which I'm probably going to switch out Woodmon for, honestly, or maybe play a few alongside Woodmon. And then you have this Kabuterimon, which actually gives you, for every one of your opponent's rested Digimon, 1,000 extra power, which once again, we can rest our opponent's Digimon in this deck, and it's excellent. We actually rest our opponent's Digimon using this Lilymon here. You can rest one of your opponent's Digimon without blocker when attacking. Now, interestingly enough, and I'm pretty sure, I don't think I'm wrong about this. So when you attack, so this is when attacking. So before your attack succeeds, right? Before your attack finishes, you rest your opponent's Digimon. So if you have a Kabuterimon underneath it, every time you attack and you rest your opponent's Digimon, you become 1,000 points stronger. So you're stronger before you actually hit the security or before you actually hit whatever you're attacking. So this is an excellent combination right here, and it's for every one of your opponent's Digimon that are rested. And then we also have, of course, another one of the best option cards in the game alongside Vulcan Hammer, which is Flower Cannon. We just rest all of your, rest one of your opponent's Digimon, and then the securities rest all of your opponent's Digimon, which is amazing because if they ever hit this in security, they just stop attacking, which is amazing. But yeah, Flower Cannon, it's only 2 cost, and you can rest your opponent's Digimon, so that actually adds a lot of power, and is great because, you know, you want to make sure that you can knock out your opponent's Digimon, because that's the whole point, is you're trying to control their board. Now, as far as other level 4 options, let's take a look at them. It's just so I can show you guys what else we have. Now, there is Argomon, which is it has this effect called download, when it says right down here, which you can't read all of it, but that's fine. When you digivolve into this Digimon, you may rest one of your Digimon to reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. So it's essentially a free evolution card. Resting your own Digimon is nice and all. It doesn't really do much. It's actually not that good, all things considered, because you're not attacking with that Digimon if you rested that turn. And because all of these other cards are already really cheap to evolve anyways, you don't have to worry about this card. We have other cards like Tyrannomon. When Digivolved, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add a level 5 Digimon and 1 green Tamer. So it's a little bit of consistency if you want to play it, but it's really weak at 4,000 power. And I don't want that. I want to have 6,000 power, honestly. Tyrannomon, it's cool. It gives you a little bit more consistency, because whenever, unlike other card games, it says you can add a level 5 Digimon and 1 green Tamer, which means if you find one or the other, you get to add them. You don't have to add them both, you know, that kind of thing. And a little bit of consistency for your green Tamer and level 5s are not bad, but it's not worth playing. I'd rather play the 1 cost dudes and just continuously draw while memory choking my opponent. Another good one is actually Togemon. You can reveal the top 3 and add a level 5 Digimon from amongst them and put them into your hand. It's got 5,000 power, which is actually a little bit more relevant and worth playing. I don't know. It's also Togemon is better in the case that, like, you can add a level 5 or higher Digimon, which means you can add a level 6. You can add things like Puppetmon. So I think I'd rather play this over the Tyrannomon because it has a little bit more power and can add level 6s. So it's a lot more cards you can add to your deck. Like, if, for instance, if I play 8 level 5s and 2 Tamers, that's only 10 cards in my deck. If I play 8 level 5s and 8 level 6s, 16 cards. You see what I'm saying? So Togemon feels a little bit better, but honestly, I'm not playing it. But you can easily play it. It's easy. You can easily switch it out for probably the Vegemon if you rather have that added consistency as far as adding cards to your hand over the cheap evolution cost. The cheap evolution cost I like a lot because drawing is so important. You want to draw nonstop. You want to make sure you use as little memory as possible, things like that. We have Kuwagamon here. You can, whenever you play it, you can rest one of your opponent's Digimon. Obviously, it's a win-played skill. It's only a 4 cost, so it's not too bad, but because it doesn't really mesh with the whole evolution aspect we're going for this in this deck, I'm not playing it. Then you have Ogremon, which has jamming, which, you know, it's not too bad. It's actually not bad at all because you can always get rid of security, and if they don't attack you, you get the Argomon memory increase and can just attack again. But if you have jamming, they're probably going to go for you. So for that reason, I'm not playing it. You usually go for the cards with jamming. You want to be able to punish your opponent for attacking your security. So that's that. As far as level 5s go, it's really simple. Lilymon for the rest that we talked about earlier, and for Argomon, this one has the same thing, download -3, so whenever we digivolve, as long as we rest one of our Digimon, it does become a free evolution, which whenever you're evolving into a level 5, that's worth. When you're evolving into a level 4, it's less worth, especially considering the fact that these are really cheap evolution cards we have. So, But in this one, it's worth because it has a really good EOS skill, which is when attacking, you may play level 3 green Digimon from your hand at rest without paying its cost. So you can essentially play Digimon down for free, get you more bodies on board, more cards you can evolve from. So it's really, really strong. So I do like this a lot. But its EOS skill and its downloadability is nice. Now, obviously, resting your own Digimon, like I mentioned earlier, could sometimes be a problem, but in some cases, your opponent won't attack you because they're not really threats. And sometimes you can rest some of your really big dudes that won't be knocked out or won't be attacked in revenge, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, those are the level 5s I'm playing. There are a few more level 5s in this game, but honestly, I don't think there's anything relevant that's level 5, but we can take a look real quick. All right, let's see. Yeah, I don't remember there being anything at all relevant. When attacking, this is the memory borrowing card. You get 3 memory, by the end of the turn you get -3 memory. So I don't like memory borrowing in this game, it feels bad. If there are 2 or more of your opponent's Digimon at rest, get +1 memory. We already have Argomon, we don't really care about that. It's nice, but it's not worth. Okawamon is actually decent. If this Digimon destroys your opponent's Digimon by battle, get +1 memory. We do actually attack our opponent's Digimon a lot whenever we're Taitamon, but you know what I mean? You don't want to play too many level 5s, and I like the 8 that we play right now, so I'm currently not playing it. When attacking, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may Digivolve into a level 3 green Digimon from amongst them without paying its cost. So this is a really weird card, which it's just bad. So when you attack, you can Digivolve if it's in the top 3 cards of your deck, which feels not good. Like, sure, you don't have to pay its cost, but the cost for Digivolving when it comes to green is fairly low, unless you're playing Tyrannomon, which is it's just not good, honestly. Speaking of Tyrannomon, we have a Metal Tyrannomon card. If this Digimon destroys your opponent's level 6 or more Digimon by battle, this Digimon becomes active. So if you start having really, really strong Digimon on your board, it's good. But like, our Digimon aren't always going to be the strongest ever, even though we can very easily make them strong. It's not going to be like, that's not going to be super consistent, if that makes sense. So we're not playing that. And then the last one is a blocker. I just don't feel like we need it, honestly. It's 2 costs to play, evolve. It's a blocker, so it's always nice. And it can attack. It doesn't have that whole like -2 memory for attacking thing. But honestly, I don't think we need it. But that one's an easy add. You can easily throw that in, and I wouldn't complain. But that's it for level 4s or level 5s. And now we have all that left is level 6s, and we can talk about Terra Cluster first. I like Terra Cluster a lot. It's for things like Omnimon and other really, really big Digimon that attack you. So what it does is return one of your opponent's rested Digimon to the bottom of the deck, and this Digimon Digivolution source are discarded. So you don't get to destroy them, but that's actually kind of good because the destruction effects don't get procced whenever you do this. For instance, I think it's Millenniumon, we'll take a look at it in a second, but Millenniumon has an ability that sums itself back up if it gets destroyed, but if you put it in the bottom of the deck, then it doesn't get to proc that ability. And it only works on rested Digimon, but usually things like Omnimon will attack your security and have themselves rested because they know they're safe from being attacked. So having Terra Cluster, and it's only 7 costs, so if you think about it, if you have a Mimi on board and you use Terra Cluster, you're only giving your opponent 4 memory, which is not that much for getting rid of one of their strong Digimon. So it's one of those hold into hand until like a big threat hits the board. But as far as our level 8s go, or level 6s go, we have Taitamon, the vanilla, and 3 Puppetmon. Amazing cards. Taitamon is just strong, 12,000, only 2 to evolve, which is, once again, that money, that value, nothing but good stuff. And it's a 10 cost to play, which honestly, I've had games when I was testing, which you can watch the video of me testing for 4 hours with this deck where I just had too many megas in hand, and I was like, you know what, my opponent gave me 3 memory, I'll just play down the Taitamon. What are they going to do? This is a 12,000 power beat stick. and honestly, they couldn't do anything. It was just a 12,000 power beat stick that just kept knocking out all their Digimon and getting the security. So yeah, because this 10 cost is pretty cheap and pretty useful, honestly. And then we have one of the best cards in the game as far as Digimon go, Puppetmon. So Puppetmon is when played, so you have to play this directly from your hand. Rest one of your opponent's Digimon, and during your opponent's next active phase, all of your opponent's Digimon cannot be made active. So if your opponent attacked your security a bunch, or has threatening Digimon that have attacked and are rested, you can play down the Puppetmon not only do you get to rest one of your opponent's Digimon, but you also get to essentially skip their battle phase, or their battle, Yu-Gi-Oh terms. They essentially have to skip their battles because they can't be made active during their turn, which is really good because that gives you a whole extra turn to work with. And Puppetmon, when attacking, gets +1 memory. So essentially, this card almost gives you +1 memory immediately, right? Because you get to play it. So it's 11 cost to play, right? So obviously you need to have a little bit of memory to use it. But even if your opponent has even if your opponent has a bunch of Digimon on the board and a bunch of memory and a bunch of ways to set up, if they can't attack that turn, you take like 1 or 2 security cards, then you play it on Puppetmon, and then you take the rest of the security cards and win the game the following turn. So Puppetmon is easily one of the best cards in this game. We are playing 3. I want to play 4. This card is that good. We're not playing 4, but playing 4 would be pretty good. Honestly, this is one of those cards that can go into every deck. We're playing it in this deck because we can evolve into it if we want to, because getting +1 memory when attacking is just good in general, and we can make ourselves stronger thanks to all of our cards we mentioned earlier. So there's a lot we can do with this card. But that's all that. Let's go ahead and look at some of the level 6s, and then we'll start looking at some of the new cards. So we'll look at all the other remaining level 6s. There is another archetype you could play, the Rust Tyrannomon archetype here. It's a different archetype than what we're doing, completely different, because I have a bunch of different support cards and support Tamers. But if you're looking to throw in random level greens, are not bad. This one's pretty good. If you have a green Tamer in, this Digimon can attack your opponent's active Digimon. So if you increase your Mimi count a bit and you play Rust Tyrannomon, you can attack your opponent's active Digimon. You are 11,000 power, so you probably want to rework some of the cards so that you become stronger. But being able to attack your opponent's Digimon, active Digimon, is really, really strong, because then nothing is safe on their board. Then your turn of the Digimon is destroyed by battle by the if your opponent's Digimon is destroyed by battle by this Digimon, rest one of your opponent's Digimon. So you can destroy an active Digimon and then rest one of your opponent's other Digimon so that your other Digimon can knock out their Digimon. So complete board wipe, a little bit less consistent, a little bit higher evolution cost because you need Tamers on the board and stuff like that. So it's not that great. Hercules Kabuterimon. It has piercing. Piercing means that whenever you destroy Digimon, you get to do a security check. Really good, really weak, expensive to evolve. And then when attacking twice per turn by paying 3 memory, this Digimon becomes active. That's not, I mean, like, it sounds cool on paper, but you're never gonna have 3 memory. Like, that's not how this game works. Unless you have a crazy pop-off turn, you're never gonna have a green memory. And this doesn't rest Digimon. They have to be in resting position first for like piercing to come into play. So what are you gonna do? Play Flower Cannon and then use its ability, so you're playing 5 memory that turn to attack twice? That's not that good, honestly. I don't think Hercules Kabuterimon is that good in theory. Like, in theory, it sounds cool, but like in practice, it doesn't feel like a good card. We have Rosemon here, which everyone loves Rosemon. Come on. Opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon attacks the player or the security, if this Digimon is at rest, rest one of your opponent's Digimon. So that's cool, I guess, but it doesn't feel that great. So like, you have to be at rest first, which there are ways to put yourself at rest. You have Argomon cards that could put yourself at rest using that Digivolving source card. Download, that's what it's called. And then you can obviously attack to put yourself at rest, right? But all things considered, you're not a very strong level 6. You're only 11,000 power, and you get to rest one of your opponent's Digimon when they attack. But when your opponent attacks, they put themselves at rest, so you have to put a different Digimon at rest. So you're not actually stopping any attacks. You're not stopping the attack that gets declared. You're stopping a potential future attack. So if they don't have Digimon on the board that are threatening to you, then this Rosemon becomes kind of like a dead card, and it's not really a good draw, so we're not playing Rosemon, but it's cool. I think it's cool. It's not a bad card. Then we have Grand Kawagamon. Once again, 13-4, so it's pretty expensive. But during your turn, you get 4,000 DP. So if you're looking for a card that can beat over Omnimon easily, as long as you have any other card that can increase your damage output, such as like Agumon, then you do hit over an unboosted Omnimon, which is cool. You have piercing too, so you can do security checks. It is pretty expensive, so I don't play it. Now, one card I was playing, because this card's actually amazing, but it's not, after testing this deck, it's not really inclusive to the strategy, so I stopped playing it. But this is Argomon, the final one. Now, one thing I don't like about the Argomon line is I found out, because all of the Digimon's names are Argomon in the evolution line, if your opponent plays Omnimon, they destroy all your Argomons, including no matter what level they are. As long as their name is Argomon, they destroy all of them. Which is kind of absurd. But This ability is insane. First of all, download -3 makes you a 2 evolution cost mega, which is great. Same reason why you're playing Titanmon. It's a little bit weaker, but that's fine. That doesn't matter because we have security attack +1 for every one of your other rested Digimon. Now, it's really cool if you play an Argomon based deck that where you're resting all of your Digimon to evolve for cheap and quick with all the different levels of Argomon. That's not bad. The problem with resting your own Digimon is that your opponent can knock out your Digimon that are rested, which is not good. It's not a good feeling. But I've had one game in the I was playing this in the testing, and I just took it out. But I did have one game while testing where I did a security attack +5. Well, it's +4, which would take 5 security. I had an attack where I just kind of rested all my Digimon to Digivolve into Argomon because I had like 2 level 5 Argomons, and then I had this Argomon, and then something else. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff going on, right? I don't remember the game, but I do remember that I did attack him. He was my only attack I had that turn, but I did take all 5 security in one turn with security attack +4, and that was really absurd. Now, theoretically, I could do the same exact thing by attacking with all the Digimon I rested. You see what I mean? It doesn't really do anything, if we're going to be honest, because if one of your Digimon are rested, you get security attack +1. It just makes up for the fact that you rested that Digimon. It's good if that Digimon attacked first and then you Digivolve and then you attack with Argomon, but because you're always going to use download, you're always going to have a Digimon rested using download, right? So all you're doing is making up for that Digimon being rested. So it's not really that great, so I cut it out. But this isn't easily like 5th mega, like because like the Puppamon, I'm not really considered the megas in the deck because I don't really evolve in Puppamon, but I can if I need to. But I'm looking for like a 5th Digimon to evolve into. Argomon would probably be my first card to go into, my first bet, because it's just not that bad. A Grand Quagomon would probably be the next one because it's really powerful. But yeah, that's gonna be the deck I play right now, and I'm very happy with this list. It's been doing the most for me. I will say that 4 Flower Cannons feels kind of like a lot. Now Flower Cannon is a busted card, so I don't want to cut it. But I had a game where I opened up with 3 Flower Cannons, and then I found the 4th one in like my 2nd or 3rd draw. So I had 4 Flower Cannons in my hand, and I was like, well, it's cool that I have these, but what am I supposed to do? I don't have anything else. So there have been moments where I'm just like, oh, should I cut a Flower Cannon? And I haven't done it yet. I haven't gone to that point. It only happened once out of like 20 games, so I'm not too worried about it. Now, let's have some fun and look at some of the new cards. We're going to start with the Green Star deck. We've only seen like 3 or 4 cards out of it. But we're going to start by looking at the Green Star deck here, because there's some actually interesting cards in here. We'll start with Izzy. It's a 2-cost Tamer, which is really relevant because all these new Tamers technically make Rust Tyrannomon a little bit stronger because it's a little bit more consistent. But these Tamers are just good in general. If your opponent's Digimon becomes rested, by resting this card, get +1 memory. So essentially, if you have this Tamer down, you get to play a Flower Cannon for 1 memory. Now you have to take into account that you're playing Izzy first. But if you play things like Tentomon that I showed off earlier, and Lilymon, which we showed off, that's in the deck, then you can very easily kind of spam this card. And if you have multiple of them down, like, you can get a bunch of memory. Now, I'm still on the fence about if I like it, because you have to use this card twice for it to be neutral. You know what I mean? Like for it to be a 0 cost in general, you have to use the effect twice, which means you'd have to use this card 3 times for it to actually be worth the cost that you played it for. So that's why I'm because you have to, that requires 3 turns, and sometimes games might not be that long. I mean, Digimon card is different because like Digimon games generally last a few turns, but you have to find it early, and then you have to use it successfully 3 turns to plus off using the Izzy, because it gets rested. It's not like you can do it over and over again per turn. You can only do it once every cycle. If it was cool if it became active during your opponent's turn, because you can do it during your opponent's turn too. But no, actually I lied. It says your turn right there. So but Izzy is not bad. Getting memory is always good. We have another Tentomon. When played, reveal one of the cards from the top of your deck. If that card is a green Digimon, add it to your hand. Easy addition. This is easy. This is essentially like play it down, get a draw. This is probably better than Palmon. It's a little bit stronger. It has the same effect, kind of. It is just a free draw. The only time it doesn't draw you a card is if you draw Flower Cannon or Terra Cluster or Mimi. So in the future, I could see some players cutting out all of those. Not all of those, maybe keep the Flower Cannons. I could see, because I know some people already don't play Mimi and some people don't play Terra Cluster. So like, I could see you cutting those out altogether, except for Flower Cannons, because that card's too good. And then just playing Tentomons, and that's essentially a free draw. Kind of like how Omnimon Blue has Gabumon, which is a free draw. But this is a little bit weaker because you actually have to reveal the card, and it has to be a Digimon. But that's going to happen most of the time. So this is a free addition to the deck. Easily replace Palmon for it whenever it comes out. Kabuterimon blocker that I was talking about, a 1-cost blocker. The problem is that it's Kabuterimon, which if you guys don't know, Omnimon destroys all Digimon with the same name. Which means it doesn't matter the different cards, they're the same name. So when you play 2 different Kabuterimons, if you have too many Kabuterimons on the board, you can get punished for it. So something to keep in mind. But I think it's still easily worth playing over the blocker we have now. It's a little bit weaker, but it still gets the job done, which is like it blocks rookies from attacking you, and it's 1 cost. So I'm probably going to squeeze that in. Maybe play more blockers in this deck list, but I think I'm going to stick with 4. And then we have this card, Hercules Kabuterimon. Now this one's kind of interesting. I'm not too sure how much I like it, but it's really cool. It has this new effect called Digiburst. So Digiburst is, what you do is you have to get rid of 2 of your Digivolution sources, and then you get an effect. The effect is different per Digiburst card. So in this case, you have Piercing, which is decent, and you can Digiburst, get rid of 2 of your evolution sources, and rest 1 of your opponent's Digimon, and you are level 6, so you should be able to do that twice. So you can rest 2 of your opponent's Digimon and lose all of your Digivolution sources, which you're 12,000 power. So I don't think it's the end of the world if you lose all of your power-ups that you might get, or your Argomon memory gain, but you are still 4 to evolve, which is kind of heavy. So I'm on the fence, but I think it could be really, really cool if you're playing a deck that's all about resting your opponent's Digimon, like super hardcore, although we are already doing that in this deck list because we rest all of our opponent's Digimon and knock them out. So I don't think it's ever going to find a home in the green deck, but it's not bad. It's a really cool addition. But one card that is definitely going to find a home in the green deck, let me show you, because it's kind of busted. Let's see. Actually, it doesn't have to be Digimon. Just green and from the new set, Union Impact. Perfect. It's going to be this boy right here, Terriermon. Both players' turn, your opponent cannot gain memory except by Tamers. So there are lots of cards that gain memory through being destroyed. Like purple has cards that let you gain memory by getting destroyed, or have Digimon effects that just gain memory in general. And there's blue, which is the best deck probably in format right now. Omni Blue plays Vulcanhammer. So their security, so that's their way of having a free card that gets them +1 memory, and that shuts that down. And that card is a problem sometimes because that means that your opponent can make plays they shouldn't be able to make. So Terriermon being able to stop your opponent from doing that is excellent. And it's a cool card because you can play this in any deck, because it's only a 3 cost to play and it just stops your opponent. So it's like an anti-blue tech if blue continues to be the best deck. I don't think it will after this set, but if it still becomes a problem, then Terriermon is gonna be here, being a monster. So that's pretty cool. So Terriermon, excellent card, excellent addition to this deck. Honestly, I have to figure out how I want to play the deck after this, because I definitely want to play maybe like 2 or 3 Terriermons, but I definitely want to play 4 of those Tentomons. So I'm definitely going to cut out the Palmons for Tentomons immediately. Maybe cut out some Argo or Gobblemons. Argomon always goes first before the Gobblemon, because of the same thing, but Argomon shares names and you don't want cards to share names. To play a few Terriermons, because that's just a good card, honestly. Other cards we have Minomon, a new level 2. When attacking, if this card is attacking opponent's Digimon, this Digimon gets 1000 DP. Not great. It's not that good. We have Wormmon, another level 3. When destroyed, reveal the top 3 cards of your decks. Add a level 4 or 5 Digimon from among them into your hand. So you have to destroy yourself, which is cool, but I don't know if it's really worth, because you don't want to destroy yourself in this deck. You want to evolve. So I guess if you're really stuck, like it could like anti-clutter you, because you get to search for level 4 and a level 5, which is a lot of cards. Like in this deck alone, we play like 4 level 4s and 8 level 5s, so it's almost 20 cards that you're searching, which is like pretty much half your deck after you take security and draw cards, assuming you don't have any security or in your hand, right? So it's really good, but I don't know if it's worth playing over anything else in our hand, if that makes sense. There's these new security Digimon, which at the end of the turn, if they attack this Digimon as a security card, you can play it. You can play it without paying its cost. Not really worth unless you're playing something that's a little bit more focused on security effects. Not really worth, honestly, because it's a 2 cost to play, 5 cost to play immediately, and only 4,000 power, so it's not that strong. Now this card immediately gets thrown in. Honestly, probably over the Kabuterimon, the one that doesn't have evolution. Because this thing, once per turn, this Digimon destroys your opponent's Digimon in battle, get +1 memory. Actually, that's a lie. The Kabuterimon gives you a bunch of power, but this thing has to fit in somehow. I'm not really sure how yet though, because we have the new Kabuterimon that's a blocker. And the Kabuterimon here gives you a lot of power. So actually, it goes over Vegemon. What am I talking about? Yeah, immediately goes in over Vegemon. Vegemon doesn't do anything. This thing does a lot. If the Digimon destroys your opponent's Digimon in battle, which we do all the time, get +1 memory, which is amazing. So good. We got Dino Beamon, another level 5 that is both piercing and jamming. So, I mean, that's just good. That's just good. I don't know if we replace anything for it, but it is a good card. Like getting piercing, so you can attack Digimon and also do well for it. Honestly, this is the kind of build that if I were to play a lot of resting cards like Tentomon and stuff like that, I would do, because I could get rid of my opponent's Digimon and get security checks from it, and then jamming, so I never have to worry about security being a problem. 7,000 power. Honestly, it's really, really good. I don't know what I would cut for it. I'm not sure, because the level 5s we have are really, really good. Maybe I don't play Argomon, but Argomon is just free draws. So, I don't know. This is definitely worth playing. It's a 3 cost to evolve though, which is really expensive in this deck, so it probably won't go in this deck. But it's something worth experimenting with for sure. Now another download card, but once per turn you may rest your opponent's Digimon instead of your own when using downloads, so... This card's stupid. It's so dumb. 12,000 power. Only 2. This card completely replaces Titamon, because it's the same stats except for the fact that it's a 12 cost to play, which is actually kind of annoying, but still worth. Because when you evolve into it, you rest your opponent's Digimon to evolve instead of your own. What? That's so dumb. And it's 12,000. I can't stress. It's 12,000 power, and it's only bad if your opponent has no Digimon, but if your opponent has no Digimon, you just have to rest your own, which is not bad at all. And there are going to be so many times that your opponent don't want to attack you because they fear Terror Cluster, because Terror Cluster only works on rested Digimon, so they don't rest themselves, and then you get to rest them. And then there's obviously the turns whenever your opponent puts them down directly from their hand, so they can't rest them. Lots of good stuff there. Lots of good stuff. Mega Gargomon. When Digivolve, rest one of your opponent's Digimon. During your opponent's next active phase, the Digimon cannot be made active. So it's like a washed down version of Puppetmon. I don't know if I like it. Because Puppetmon stops all your opponent's Digimon from becoming active, which is the point of the card, honestly. So I don't think it's even that good in comparison. Because the point of Puppetmon is to stop all your opponent's Digimon from becoming rested, not resting one of your opponent's Digimon. So it's not that good. But it does have security attack +1 if they have rested Digimon. So it's not bad, but it's not great. I still rather play Puppetmon. Now this card's really interesting. Bancho Stingmon. Now, it's only 9,000 power. It's 3 to evolve, which is actually not that bad. It has piercing, which is great. And when attacking, if this Digimon attacks your opponent's Digimon with 12,000 DP or more, this Digimon gets 7,000 more DP and security attack +2 with piercing. So if Omnimon's a problem, your boy Bancho Stingmon is here. So this thing can attack over all the big boys and then take 3 security checks because you have piercing. And this might replace Terror Cluster. This might be a complete replacement for Terror Cluster, honestly. I might have to play a more level 5s in the deck list, which is easy because we can just throw in this Dino Beamon over here. But honestly, when the set drops, more Dino Beamons, more Bancho Stingmons, cut out Terror Cluster altogether because it pretty much does what you want against the deck. You know, it does what Terror Cluster does, but it is a little bit more work because it's an evolved Digimon. But honestly, pretty worth. And then we have over here Ken, the new security, the new Tamer. Start of your turn if your memory is 2 or less, become 3. So It's always good. When your green or blue Digimon destroy your opponent's Digimon by battle and survive by resting this card, get +1 memory. Now I like the memory gain, and you do attack Digimon a lot in this deck. It's not better than Mimi, I think. And if I want to get +1 memory, I think I'd rather play the other Tamer, the other one from the green starter deck. So I don't think I like this card, but it could be good. I'll say that much. But that's it for now. There's still a lot more green cards we haven't seen yet. I think we've only seen about, I mean, let's actually take a look. We can actually take a look right now. How many? Because we haven't seen all the cards, but we've seen all the secret rares and all the super rares. I mean, not the secret rares. The secret rare is, I don't know how many secret rares are usually in a set, but like we've seen all the super rares. So we're not going to get any more level 6s, I believe. But if we take a look here, did I type green again? That's my bad. So I think there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. Okay. Almost 90 cards. Let's see how many. I think we're 87 cards deep. Actually, no, because these two don't count because we haven't seen those yet. And there is at least 110 cards in the set. Definitely more. So we've seen a good chunk of this set, but not all the cards. And we haven't seen any, actually now that I mention it, we haven't seen any green option cards yet, which I'm sure we're gonna get revealed soon. So keep on the lookout for that. But yeah, this is gonna be my green deck. This is a really long video because I want to discuss all sorts of facets of this deck. The whole idea of this deck is that it's cheap. You can swarm your opponent, you can swarm your board thanks to cards like Mimi. You can rest your opponent's Digimon and destroy them, so you have that controlling aspect to you. And because you're swarming, you get to do a lot of security checks. You get a lot of memory, you get a lot of power, and you can stop your opponent from winning with a Puppetmon. So it's a very controlly, but also very aggro version of the green deck, and it's really, really fun to play. Highly recommend trying it out. If you guys are interested in joining my Discord, we are looking to do these like super casual bi-weekly tournaments for Digimon, where we just kind of have a 3-day span to meet with your opponent and then be all like, hey, let's schedule a time to play a best of 3, and then we'll have like a moderator there to like watch the games to make sure nobody's cheating or anything like that. And then boom, we do that. Every person plays each other, and if we have 8 people, I think we can do that 3, 6, 9, 12 we can do that in 12 days. And honestly, if we can get people to play each other quicker, then we can do it even sooner. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you guys want to join the Discord for more Digimon action, I also stream Digimon a lot, so subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the videos, all that good jazz, and I will see you guys next time because I'm getting phone calls. Peace.